Hey y'all, welcome to Gemini Outdoors, and today we'll be continuing our Illusion of Freedom series, Theory of Life. Hey everybody, and today we'll be continuing our Theory of Life discussion on the illusion of freedom. This video is going to be entitled Taxes, Fees, Fines, and Insurance. If you have to pay a tax, or if you have to pay a fee or a fine, or pay insurance to do something, is that freedom? Ask yourself that question. Is it freedom? Is it truly free? Nowadays, I can't think of hardly anything that we do to where you don't have to pay anything. I mean, it's getting to the point where you almost have to pay to breathe, or at least that's what it feels like to me, anyway. Our founding fathers believed that taxation without representation was wrong, and now I think you can add fees, fines, and insurance and taxes to that as well. I believe that if we have to pay this stuff, then we should be represented in whatever we're having to pay the tax on, the fee on, the fine on, or the insurance on. I know in particular a lot of this insurance and stuff that we have to pay now is not something that we go out and get in a free market anymore. It's forced down our throat, such as auto insurance, such as health care with Obamacare taking effect. Now pretty much if you don't buy that insurance, you're going to have to pay a fee or a fine and or a tax. Even with Obamacare, it's basically a tax, because if you don't have insurance at the end of the year, you have to pay a fine into the IRS. Yeah, the IRS. And that can lead up to thousands of dollars that you have to pay just for not having health insurance, whether you're healthy or not. Auto insurance, if you get pulled over and you don't have auto insurance now, you get fined, heavily fined. And we have to, I think we have to stop and ask ourselves at some point, and this goes back to my argument about the Minority Report. You know, they're wanting to prevent all this stuff from happening. How are you preventing an auto accident by getting somebody to have auto insurance? You don't. You're criminalizing a group of people because they can't afford it. And it's getting to the point now with all these taxes and fines and stuff that hardly anybody can afford it anymore except for the super rich. And I know, myself included in that group, that it's hard for me to take care of my family, and on top of that pay all these taxes, all these fees and fines and stuff like that. And we'll get more into that as the video goes along. It's just a form of financial and economic warfare against the middle and lower class in society, mainly through progressive globalist ideas and policies. The reason that we fought the revolution to begin with was because the crown used taxes to tax almost everything that we were exporting to them. We were having to pay taxes on all this stuff, and it got to the point where we didn't have a voice in Parliament, and we eventually started a revolution because of that. That's where it got to. And now the progressive globalists are doing the same thing, and all that tax is to keep us squashed down. They don't want, you have to remember that the global elites, the globalists, don't want competition. They only want it to be a few at the very top. And the more people that get success, and I think that's what the American dream was. I mean, if you worked hard back, a long time ago, you could make something of your life. Now it's a lot harder to do that because, I mean, think about it. And like I said, I'm going to get more into more detail as the video goes along. But it's hard to start a business nowadays and be successful at it. So I'll get in. Like I said, I'll get into that later on in the video in the next section. All right, in this section we're going to be talking about taxes. The first thing we're going to talk about is state and federal income taxes. That only started in the 1900s, and the question is before that, how did it? We had roads and stuff like that before these income taxes, and that was the reason that they put on us about, oh, we need this for more roads and blah 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 and other stuff. There's a lot of people out there, including me, who think that, and if you remember, I know I'm a little off tonight, I apologize for that. I probably shouldn't even be trying to make this video, but if I don't do it now, it probably won't get done. But it started off that the government said we're only going to tax you up to a certain percentage, and that was really low. As time has gone on, that rate has gone up, up, and up, and that's the way government is. Government always gets bigger, and it hardly ever gets smaller until the people get tired of it, and I think that's where a lot of people are right now. These income taxes, and I think a lot of people don't mind paying taxes as long as the money's getting spent well. But nowadays we got the federal government that's spending $10,000 on a hammer. It's getting a little bit out of touch with reality. And the thing is we got these people that are in government now, our representatives that are in government now, that believe that I can spend this money any way I want. And the government has gotten way out of control with spending to a point now to where it's ridiculous. I mean, you hear some of the stuff that the government is putting money into, and it's like the money should be going towards our defense, our infrastructure, and Social Security, stuff like that. Instead, you hear them talking about spending money on all kinds of crazy stuff that absolutely makes no sense. And I think people get fed up with it on the state and federal level, and even me with the local level. I tell you, some of the things that I see in my local government, not only the city that's very close to me. If you see me keep doing that, my ears are popping. I'm having trouble with that for some reason tonight. But my county in particular, I see these county workers driving around. Used to, you'd always see them in old beater-up trucks, and they would drive around in those things for years. And from what I could tell, they never had a problem. And if they did have a problem, it would get fixed. Nowadays, I see these same workers driving around every year in a brand new truck. Every single year. And I'm like, where are they getting the money to buy all these brand new vehicles? I mean, you're talking about $30,000 trucks. My dad owns a GMC. It's the same GMC Sierra that a lot of these county workers drive around, and he spent over $30,000 in that truck, on that truck. And I'm sitting here, they're traveling around in really nice trucks. Where are they getting this money from? And I realize that's where all my tax money's going to. And then you sit here and you think, okay, well, we got Social Security taxes thrown on top of that. For our Social Security that we're not going to have. Once I get old enough to supposedly retire, Social Security is going to be broke because it's been ran into the ground by these same people in Washington that wants to put more taxes on us and say, hey, you got to pay more, it's your fair share. How about you spend fairly, and then we can talk about what's fair or not. Instead of spending $10,000 on a hammer. $10,000 is a lot of money. Sorry, folks in Washington, but that's a lot of freaking money in my book. $10,000 is pretty much, I don't even want to say how much. That's a lot of money for people like me who live paycheck to paycheck. It's crazy. Then you got your Medicaid tax. Then, when you go to the store, think about how much we get taxed, folks. This is a lot. We get taxed out the butt. We're one of the highest tax countries in the world, and we fought a revolution against taxes. And now they say, well, now y'all got representation, we're going to tax the living crap out of you. No, I don't think so. I think, I think our founders had a little bit of a different perspective on that, and now these progressive socialists, progressive globalists are using it against us. But yeah, then we got sales tax. So you pay taxes on your gas. Let me just start from the beginning. Okay, you get paid. Let's say you get paid. Let's say you get paid. Your paycheck. You get your paycheck. Excuse me, I'm trying to fix this to where it don't fall off. You get your paycheck. First thing comes out of it is your income tax. Your FICA tax, your Social Security tax. Then your state taxes come out of it. Then your insurance comes out of it. Insurance, your health insurance might as well be a tax now, right? I mean, if you don't, you don't get fined for it at the end of the year, right? So that's a tax too. So health insurance, tax. So there goes, I know in my case, almost half of my money right there. Yeah, it's that bad. Look at your pay stub every once in a while. So alright, you get paid. Alright, so I get up in the morning and go to work. So I'm going to go get gas in my truck. Tax for that. I'm going to buy my lunch at the store. You pay sales tax for that. Right? You get taxed for everything you buy. Think about that. On top of the taxes that you already pay out of your paycheck. You go buy, like I said, gas, groceries, clothing. Everything you buy, you pay a sales tax on. Think about that for a minute. That's crazy. Then you have to pay taxes to a tax to get your vehicle registered every year, to get your license plate every year. You have to pay for that. You have to pay to get your boats registered. You have to pay to get your trailer registered. Tax, tax, tax. You get where I'm going with it? You see what I'm saying? Then you're paying taxes for your services that you got. You have to pay special taxes for that. So there you go again. There's your a tax on a fee. Yeah, on your phone. Everything you buy, basically, you have to pay a tax on. That's how ridiculous the amount of money that the government is getting. And then they got the nerve to complain that we ain't getting enough. Oh, we ain't getting enough money. We're going to have to raise taxes on y'all again. That's Hillary Clinton's big thing right now. And I'm just sitting there like, what? We already pay enough taxes to you people. Y'all need to learn how to spend right. How in the world do they make it in real life? So I mean, you look at that. Now I'm concluding this section, and we're going to move on to fees and stuff. But it's just crazy to me that we let these people who claim they ain't getting enough money. We pay, I forgot how much it is a year, but it's up there in the trillions of dollars, I think, that the government gets in revenue just from our taxes. They make plenty of money, folks. Don't let them fool you. It's just they're spending money. They're getting real lavish about things. It's almost like handing a teenager a credit card. At first they're going to buy stuff for school, and then pretty soon, before you know it, you look on your charge list, and all of a sudden you start seeing things that don't make any sense. That you gave your teenager this credit card for school, and all of a sudden stuff's popping up that makes 0 sense. Like how's a video game help you in schoolwork? You see what I'm saying? That's the same principle as what the government is doing to us right now. They're saying, oh, we need more to take care of you. But really what we're doing is we're taking care of ourselves. We're not really paying for this stuff to protect you, to serve you. We're doing this to serve ourselves. Prime example of that. I mean, look at all this money. They want more money now, from what I understand, to protect themselves with Secret Service and all that. More money to do all this other stuff while they're wanting to take away our Second Amendment rights. I think that's a bunch of BS to myself. But anyway, I'm gonna conclude this section on that. We're going to move on to fees in the next one. So in this section, we're going to be talking about fees now. The first fee we're going to talk about is service fees. So you pay for your garbage to be picked up. That's a fee. Your utilities are considered a fee. And on top of those fees, you're paying taxes on top of that on them. If you don't believe me, check your bill, your utility bill. Internet. All these other fees, man, they add up. And I'm going to get to that point later on in the closing of why there's so many fees and taxes and fines and stuff like that. But service fees, we pay them all the time, and we don't really think about how overboard it really is. I mean, I understand that people have to make a profit to make a living and everything, but some of these service fees are absolutely outrageous for what you're paying for and the quality that you get. My prime example of that is the actual internet. I have a bundle with my cable company. I'm not going to name their name, but we have to pay almost $200 a month bundled with our cable, which is basic cable, which is literally no premium channels whatsoever. It's just a basic package. Then our internet is attached to that, and then our phone is attached to that. Like I said, my ears are popping. If I keep doing that, I'm sorry. I apologize, but for some reason my ears are popping. Every month, I will guarantee you that our cable is going to quit working at some point in time. Probably at least twice a month it quits working. Like I said, my ears drive me crazy. I hope I ain't getting ear infection. Our internet will stop. It'll be real spotty. We won't, sometimes I can't even upload videos or work on videos because of it being so spotty, wherever you want to call it. But the internet won't work, and the phones won't work if the internet don't work. And I'm sitting here like, we pay almost $200 for this. You can't even do your maintenance work on this, say at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. That makes sense when most of the people in the world is asleep. Most of your customers are asleep. Instead, we're going to do it at noon. That's usually when it cuts off. See what I mean? Those kinds of service fees. And you're like, I'm like, really, $200 a month? I mean, we shouldn't be paying no more than $100. This is ridiculous. And it's just crazy the amount of service fees you have to pay just in a month. Think about it, about all the service fees you have to pay. For example, utility bill. Every time the wind blows, my power goes out. It seems like, anyway. I got to admit, they've gotten a little bit better here in the last couple of years, but before, man, it seemed like every time the wind would blow, the power would go out, and we'd be sitting there in the dark for about 15 or 20 minutes. No storm or nothing, I'm talking about just wind. It wouldn't be a cloud in the sky, and the wind would blow, and the power would go out. And I'm sitting here like, you got to be kidding me. Garbage pickup. My dad used to work for the county, so I try to be nice to these guys because I know they have a hard job. I've heard my dad talk about it, how hard their job is, and I try to be respectful of these guys. But sometimes these garbage pickup guys, can drive me nuts. They will either half dump the can, not pay attention to what they're doing, and just halfway dump the can, and then I've got all this garbage piled up, and then I only get one can to dump it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like ridiculous. So let's move on now to licenses. Okay, let's talk about the licenses you need for anything. Just in regular, let's start off in regular life. Okay, I need a driver's license. Let's see, a hunting license. If you're going hunting and fishing, you gotta buy licenses for that. Let's see, you have to have a business license if you start your own company. All the taxes that go along with that to start up your own business. I mean, most small businesses, the reason why the economy is not doing so good right now, I think it's like a 1% growth rate. We have taxed and feed and fined the small business owner to the point to where they can't afford to go into business or to keep the business they've got. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame. All this regulation has killed small businesses in the United States. That's what's going on today. I wouldn't even try to start a small business right now. Seriously. I mean, it just costs way too much. It costs so much for us, but a foreign person can come over here. And I know one guy. I'm not mad at him for it. I'm mad at my government, but I'm for allowing this to happen. I think they should be easier on the citizens of the United States and charge the heck out of some foreigner that wants to come over here and start a business, and they start off their business tax-free for the first year. My friend even admitted to it. He said, I wouldn't have been able to start his business. He owns a gas station. He told me right to my face, he said, I wouldn't have been able to start this business if I had to start off with the charges and the taxes and stuff that they charge normal American citizens. I wouldn't be able to do it. Think about what that man just said. Or what I paraphrased him saying. Think about that. That should be for the citizens of the United States. Hey, we're not going to charge you a bunch of taxes because we know you got to invest so much money. You got to go in debt to begin with to get all the tools and equipment and stock and all this other stuff you need in order to start your business. We're not going to charge you any startup fees, licensing fees, and all that. They'll come on down the road if you become a success and all that. I can understand that, but to start off with, you're talking about starting a business. I mean, you're talking about maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt right off the bat. If you have to go to school to start your business, you can throw college tuition on top of that. I mean, it's crazy. You could throw that in as a fee too. Like I was saying, you need a license just about everything nowadays. To start a business, you have to have a business license. To go drive down the road, you need a driver's license. I know I'm missing a bunch, but I'm just, like I said, right now I'm not all up here the way I should be. If you want to go do a hobby nowadays, you're going to have a license to go to hunt. You have to have a license to go fish. You have to have a... Let's see. You're probably going to have a license to garden here pretty soon, to be honest with you. I'm saying that's coming down the pipe. You watch, folks. You're going to have a license from the EPA to grow a garden in your backyard. That's coming. You just wait. It's coming. Permits. You have to have permits to do just about everything nowadays. Now, who do you have to go through to get those permits? If I go to my local county lake to go fishing, guess what? I got to have a permit from the government. Do you see what I mean? All this stuff adds up. It's just a huge scheme. You have to end up paying the government to do things. It shouldn't be that way, folks. It shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't have to pay huge fees and everything just to go catch a little green fish. You know what I'm saying? Or to go hunting. I think that we shouldn't even have to have a license to go hunt. It's that stupid. Think about it. How stupid it is to have to go pay. It should be a right to be able to go hunt and fish, because you got to do that to be able to live. But it's just a foolish thing. I can't tell you how many permits you have to get. You have to get a building permit now to build your own house. I mean, think about this, how stupid it is. I know a lot of people, well, that's because you got to be safe. I mean, that's the government's excuse for everything. Safety. And then what do they do whenever they do the permit? The building people come out, they look around for a few minutes, oh, everything looks good to me, and walk off. It ain't about safety, people. It's about that. It's about money. Money, 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 money. Keeping it out of our pockets and in theirs. That's what it's all about. Alright, I guess I'm going to close up this section on fees, and we'll move on to fines. In this section, we're going to be talking about fines. Fines are just a tax on top of a tax, really. I mean, when you think about fines, that's basically what they're for. You pay local fines like speeding tickets, parking tickets. If you have to go to court, you have to pay fines and all that. Usually that's all local stuff. So you also have to pay state fines, like if a state trooper pulls you over, you usually have to pay a fine or something like that. Different kind. All levels have it. And all it is, like I said, is a tax on top of a tax. They want to catch you breaking their rules any and every little time they can. And I think people are sick of that. Like I said, they don't turn those fines on themselves. I mean, Hillary Clinton's a perfect example of that. The laws only apply to us dumbasses at the bottom who let them keep getting away with it over and over and over again. It's just crazy. Then sometimes you have to pay a fine just to get a business started. Well, you have to pay this fine or this fee in order to start your business because we've got to do that, because of legalities or whatever. I've heard that said before too. And I just shake my head at it and I'm just like, how stupid is that? That you have to pay a fine for starting something or for doing something. It makes no sense to me. And it's just a way to line the politicians' pockets and another weapon in their pocket to use against us. When you talk about fines, like I said, it's just something they use it as a weapon against you. Period. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like I said again, y'all folks are going to have to forgive me. I'm just not really up here today. I've had a really rough day, so I'm trying to get through this video as best I can. So, but I mean, when you look at fines, I mean, everybody uses it. Like I said, the local police, they give you a speeding ticket or whatever. Like they catch you going, 5 mile an hour over the speed limit, they give you a ticket, and then what happens? You get fined, and then you get fined again because your insurance rate's going to go up. I mean, it's ridiculous stuff like that. It's getting crazy, people, and it needs to stop. And the only people who can stop it, the politicians are not going to stop themselves, people. It's going to be us. These progressive globalists are not going to stop themselves. It's going to be us that stops them. And like I said, I wish I could articulate what I'm thinking in my head right now, because right now I'm just not all there. Like I said, I don't know if I'm coming down with something or what, but I had a train of thought, and now it's just gone. So I guess I better wrap this little section up about fines. But like I said, it's a weapon to be used against us. It's an economic weapon used against poor people to keep us poor. I guess that's what I was trying to say. So sorry about the but that's just, like I said, I think I might be getting a head cold or something, coming down with something. Alright, in this section we're going to talk about insurance, and then I'm going to close this video on out. Insurance can be thrown in there with taxes now, I think, because it's not something that we can just go buy ourselves anymore. It's become mandatory. And if it's mandatory, then it should be classified as a tax instead of something that they make out. They try to make it out all really nice and everything, like, oh, it's insurance. It's insurance. I don't think so. It's mandatory insurance now, and if it's mandatory, it should be considered a tax. So let's start with the big one, Obamacare. If you don't buy your health insurance now, if you're not in that limited little bunch who they say, okay, you can't afford it, then at the end of the year, when you go to do your taxes, guess what? You get hit with a fine. I think that's wrong. This should be voluntary. Okay, it should be voluntary. And Obamacare is just a prime example of what is going to happen if we continue to go down this road. It's going to destroy us. It's going to destroy our country if we continue to go down this path. of allowing these political people who don't have to live under their own laws. Remember, they don't have to go under Obamacare. I say they should be forced. Every law that the government passes, the government needs to live under. There's no excuses for it. None whatsoever. Now I know there'll be plenty of people come up, progressive globalists will come on the comment section eventually, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, government shouldn't have to live under these same laws and stuff because they have to do this and they have to do that." Wrong. If they pass the law, then they need to live under the law. Under the law. Period. Next thing will be auto insurance. Now you have to have auto insurance to drive on the road. All right. Oh, don't get me started on this one. This one is when you get up in the morning and you decide to get in your car and go drive, that's considered a privilege, right? You have to have a license for it. If you know you got to get up, get in your vehicle, drive to work, you know you're taking a risk. And that's what I was talking about earlier in the video when I said that I would address that later on in this video about they want to live in a minority report. They want to act like, oh, if you buy this auto insurance, then guess what? You're less likely to have a wreck, or we're preventing you from having a wreck. No, they're not. No, they're not. I believe that it's basically, like I said, it's just another way of them making money for themselves. They're making money through the insurance companies. Okay, insurance companies right now are living high on the hog, as they say where I live at, because they're getting their cake and they're eating it too. Okay, they tax us and fine us and fee us in order to pave these roads and all this, and when we use them now, they're saying, okay, well, we've made this, now all of a sudden we need you to have auto insurance. You are required to have auto insurance to use this. I mean, I can understand from one point of view why you have to have insurance, but from another point of view, you know when you pull out on that road, you're taking a risk that you may be in an accident. And there is another thing out there that used to be used instead of insurance. It was called court. If you hit somebody and you didn't have insurance to cover what you damaged, they could take you to court and get that money. They still can, as a matter of fact. So I don't understand why it is required. Now, even if it wasn't required, I would still have auto insurance. It's a responsible thing to do. But I don't think it should be required of us. The same, I don't believe that we should be required to go out and get health insurance. I believe that's something we should choose to do. Think about that. What I'm saying, is it freedom? It's not. Okay. Pretty soon they're going to force us to have home insurance and property insurance. So if our house burns down, or if our house is in a flood, or if an asteroid comes from outer space and knocks a hole in the roof, you know what? You're going to have insurance for that. Blah, 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 blah. You mark my words, it's coming. They're going to make you have life insurance eventually. Well, you know what? It's going to be required that you have a life insurance policy, because we, the government, get tired of having to pay for your funerals and your cremations and all this other stuff. So that should be included in your life insurance and blah, 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 blah. So even in death, it's going to cost us. Even when we die, we're going to have to pay something. I mean, does that make any sense to you? It doesn't to me. And then on top of that, you got the death tax. So you can't even pass on what's yours to your kids and it not get taxed. Is that not ridiculous? I mean, I think so. So let me close up this video with this. If you have to pay a tax for it, is it free? If you have to pay a fee for it, is it free? Is it freedom? If you have to pay a fine, is it freedom? If you have to pay insurance, is it freedom? It's just an easy question. Is it freedom? Do we not believe in freedom in this country anymore? Do we not believe that we can't take care of ourselves anymore? The government seems to think they should be able to take care of everything. And our founding fathers was like, no, we done seen how government takes care of us at that time. And we're getting real close to that now. We have to ask ourselves, do we want freedom, or do we want to live in a society where government takes control of us for some illusion of security? Because that's all their security is. That's all their safety is. It's an illusion. There is no such thing as a completely secure or a completely safe place or thing in this world. It's an illusion. Especially where the government is concerned. Government uses taxes, fees, fines, and insurance to keep us at a certain income level. They want that money coming out of our pockets, because there's more of us than there are of them, and they want all that income coming into their pockets. Whether or not it's not coming in directly into their pockets, it's going to the actual government. But what they end up doing is they direct that money into a place to where they can eventually get it. You know what I'm saying? Through favors and stuff like that. Incentives. You hear about it in the news all the time, you know. But it is there. It's economic warfare. It's one of those things I was talking about in the last video that they use against us in order to keep us in a certain place. They don't want us rising above a certain level. They don't want us to live that American dream. They want to promise us that illusion of freedom, that illusion that we can become something better, while keeping us down here at this level, in poverty or wherever you want to call it. And I know, because I live, like I've said, I make no secret about it. I make a modest living. I remember my granddad used to tell me, son, you got to get an education. And he would say, get your high school diploma. I got a high school diploma, and guess what? There isn't very many jobs out there for me anymore. Do I wish I went to college now? Yeah, but I couldn't even afford it back then, much less afford it now, and prices are going up. You can include college tuition into those fees and fines I'm talking about, and taxes. I think I even said that. And once you get out of school, guess what? You're in debt. That's where they want to keep us at. They want to keep us in debt. So when they do collapse the system, I know somebody's on comment, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's not a conspiracy, it's reality now. They want to keep you in debt, to where you're constantly having to catch up. They don't want you ahead of the curve. They want you behind it. They want you behind that 8 ball, not in front of it. Because if they've got you behind and keep you behind, you can never get up to their level. And that's the whole thing about this government and this progressive globalist agenda that they want to do. They want to keep you from getting to their level, living that American dream, having a better life for yourself and your family. I know I look at my son, and like I said in my last vlog, I just announced it. My wife's pregnant with my second child. I'm thinking about my 2 kids right now, and I'm like, that's why I started voting this past year. That's why I started voting this year, actually. And it stops with us. If we say enough, and enough of us say enough, they've got to listen to us. They can't get around it. And then once we start voting their asses out of office, they'll realize, okay, this progressive globalist agenda no longer works. And things will go back, hopefully back to an America that I can vaguely remember. And I think that things will get better if we vote out these progressive globalists, which is basically the Democratic Party. And believe me, I know there's some crazies out there, some of my family included. Not going to name names. They know who they are. But, you know, it's just ridiculous. And I just shake my head at these people that really think you can spin your way out of a debt problem. That's basically what they're saying. We can spin our way out of a debt problem. Yeah, you try that. It's called bankruptcy. It don't work. It doesn't work. I've seen it too many times. It doesn't work. The only way you get out of a debt problem is you don't go into debt to begin with. And it's hard to do in this kind of economy. If you want me to prove a point, try to save $10 out of every paycheck. If you're like me, it's almost impossible. Because with all this stuff that I'm talking about, these taxes, fees, and fines, and insurance, by the time I get through paying those, and by the time I get through buying groceries for my house, and buying gas for my vehicles, and maybe buying the several little things that I get every once in a while, I'm broke. I have no money. You don't have any money saved up. It's hard to save right now. But I see all these commercials on TV where the government's telling you, oh, you need to save, and it's just like, how? You won't get off of my back. How am I supposed to save anything when you're riding my back? And now I got Hillary Clinton saying basically, oh, you got to pay more. You're not paying enough. And I'm sitting here like, damn, I'm already broke. How am I supposed to get ahead in life? How am I supposed to save for my retirement if it's costing me every penny I got to put my kids through school? And I'm not talking about college either. I'm talking about high school and elementary school. It's costing me almost every dime I have. And I'm really? I have to pay more? Don't I pay my fair share as it is? I mean, I live in a modest, small house. I barely have enough money to keep my internet on. Much less be able to go and buy some what I would call luxury items. I mean, I have enough trouble as it is buying the necessities in life, much less be able to buy a luxury item. And like I said, the jobs that I used to be able to get, they're gone now. The good paying warehouse jobs, they're gone. The job I work right now is pathetic. The amount of pay I get paid. And I sit here and I'm like, okay, I want to get this job. You know what? They start asking for your college degree and everything. I'm like, I ain't got one. Well, we can't give you a job in. And I'm just sitting there like, what the heck has this world come to? But anyway, I'm getting into another subject, so I guess I better end this video now. And I just wanted to say thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, my YouTube channel. I have a Daily Motion channel now at dailymotion.com. Please go there and like my videos, subscribe to me on Daily Motion, subscribe to me on YouTube. I really need the subscriptions, folks. Please comment and hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. Y'all have a good one. This is Kevin from Gemini Outdoors. Be safe out there, y'all.